Seemed like we got another negative last night. Reset again.
Today morning, bringing cold, wet and windy conditions. Snow as far north as parts of the Northern Cape.
Thursday, temps reached
We are not intimidated or apprehensive.
about -2 last night. Friday morning, check it out. -1 again. Another about 0 degrees. Over here last night, -1. I think we'll expect these kind of temperatures till what, July, August maybe. Don't know if this is going to be enough. Couple of frost nets, couple of buckets, and yeah, let's hope for the best. -1 again last night. Covered in tarps and stuff and everything. Whatever I could find. Winter survival. Beaver bite. Don't think he's gonna make it. I'm gonna have to scrape it and see if I can root it. Damn it. I don't think our temperatures are gonna change anytime soon, so we're gonna be around 0 and I guess -1 around. But as long as I can keep the plants from getting frozen, I should get some yield from it. I covered these with some leaves. Let's just give it a go. Use any type of mulch topping and seeing if there's a difference in growth with these to those. And maybe next season, if it works, we can do this. Maybe I should use a more grassy type of thing. What would happen if I start a compost bin right here? Would that heat help growing? Or would it kill the little seedling? I wonder. This one, it doesn't have any drainage here, just in a pot. I have to transplant it still. But as I know myself, I will probably leave that thing in that pot forever. A little weird grow over here. I just wondered at some point that why not try it and just grow whenever. And it actually worked. I mean, you get half decent plants, or at least half the size. Hi, Snowy, just chilling there. Yeah, Kitty always chilling. So this netting is actually shading these trees a lot more than I would like, but I think we'll see how it grows again. Like I said, last grow over here, last grow with his regular seed, and we'll see what happens. I mean, everything's an experiment. Okay, let's check of the remainder of these. What's happening? I'm seeing bud sites, bud sites, bud sites, bud sites, bud sites all around. Yeah, no harming happening around here. Good thing. There's one that was bent down there. Let's check it. There's that knuckle forming. There's it going. I pinned this one down to make space for the one that was here. That one grew nicely and I snatched it, popped it down to a 90-ish degree angle, and this bent this down, and then that happened. Another 3 branchings happened here. This plant was already quite lanky. I hoped that more of these side branches would grow out a bit, but those didn't. More to the top, I guess, or where you put the bins. Even here, if I put the bin on one of the side branches here, you can see which nodes decided to pop there. Anyway, just an experiment to see how the plant would have been reacting. There's my little boy. You can see now, since the light is off, it started forming its balls again. But when the lights were on it, with the others and keeping it in veg, it actually hid its little balls, and I just kept on plucking its little balls and keeping it as an ornamental plant. This is a plant that I low stress through some piece of fencing. Has to have many tops, but unfortunately it harmed on me because it was just regular seed. what sprouted in August of 2024. Still growing now, and it's now June 14th. So you can see how old this little plant is. Quite awesome. Yeah, a little bit of light goes a long way, keeping the plant in a state of constant growth. And as I snipped it down the whole time, I think it just keeps on growing from there. As soon as the plant forms bigger fan leaves, I feel it goes into a state of going into flower. If I snip these down and kept it under light, it'll veg, of course. Anyway, just thoughts in the garden. I covered this again. Gonna open it up every day as I did with the frost netting last season. Check it out, guys. Under the tabletop grow happening over here. These seedlings are doing quite well, I think. Check out the growth on these. They are growing. These lights are actually working. Rated 600, but I'm pulling 40 each from the plug. Dan Canna has been using these lights, and he says they are doing good for him. And once you get your heights tuned in, then they're working. As you can see here, these, since I've moved these up just a tad, a little bit more. Where's my measure? Let me check for measurement. To the top of the pot is about 30 centimeters, but top of that plant about 20, and the rest would be a little bit lower, of course. We'll compare these to the ones outside, and check over there. This is super crop over here, and we put that bend in there so that those nodes can grow. Unfortunately for me, I let one of these lights fall on this plant, unfortunately, and it gave her a little crack there, giving her a little bit more stress than she needs. Yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, I'm hoping she survives. I might just take some of those, the bigger fan leaves here, so that I can have more growth. When I take these fan leaves, I notice more growth on the smaller leaves. Obviously, the plant is putting more carbon in there, giving it more growth than these older ones. When I have these big fan leaves, I feel the plant is going in the sides. Now I'm grown up, I'm going into flower. This is how I see it. I'm just working things out for myself from here, and seeing how I can manipulate the plant so that it keeps on growing when it maybe wants to go into flower. So this one actually went into a flowering state. I tried taking it back into a re-veg state, and then growing the side nodes out as to have a bigger tree or plant, for that matter, in the end. Now, this is just to see if I can do it, because if I can do this here, then I can do it with other plants, feminized seeds, etc. And then I can, in the end, maybe be a better grower. I feel you have to experiment with these things and I get a feel for it. And then you know what you're doing in the end, because you are picking up on all those little nuggets of knowledge. Every time you go through your plants, you pick up just something somewhere smallish, and then you go from there. But yeah, all is good here. Plants are starting to look a little bit more sturdy. These I'm gonna go as is. I'm not gonna transplant them or anything. They're gonna grow inside a little bit. See how far we can get it. When it gets warmer, then we're gonna move them outside. Since these are all thriving inside, there's nodes, and I have growth there. I'm wondering if I am going to maybe low stress these down, or maybe top them, thumb them, maybe. Let's have some votes. What do you guys think? For winter grow, should I top thumb? I am not doing that. I know topping and thumbing is high stress training. Low stress training would be just bending these down, encouraging node growth there from those, and then having a couple of more stems and a couple of more buds over there. Or if I grow them like this, they will end up into Christmas trees, effectively having one top and then side branch growth in the end. little Christmas trees. Now what I want to do is I want a couple of more buds, maybe 4 or 5 if I can. But yeah, I'm thinking low stress. I'm thinking topping. What do you guys think? Let me know. Ping, ping, ping. Ooh, hang on. Check this out. Comparison. These are plants in this corner. You can see how much light they're getting. Putting this up now every day because the shade actually messing with the growth of the plants, I feel. Last year I kept on taking the plants out and they had some direct sunlight. This year not so much. I think I have the shade netting to blame. I'm not used to shade netting. I'm not used to higher humidities. So in the end, are things that actually trip me up a bit. Stuff that I have to learn about. I didn't know about bud rot because why? We live in the Karoo and we have low humidity. So bud rot doesn't actually bother us. I watered my plants much more. People were struggling to understand why I am watering so much. But in the end, this is the only way I can water in the Karoo. Just giving them enough to not wilt. In comparison, you can see these are not getting such a consistent light. They are much smaller than the ones that are under the LED veg light. So I think, cause I only get a few hours direct here, these will be much smaller. And it would do me good to actually grow them inside a bit longer. Although I could be wrong.